Hello and welcome to the Life Mastery Show. My name is Adrian Hanks and it's great to be here live with you again, midday Queensland time, and a big welcome. So as per usual, if you could just let me know if you can see me and hear me, that would be absolutely fantastic, because when we go live and do these things, there's nothing worse than talking away and lips are moving and there's no sound coming out. So if there are words coming out of my mouth and you can hear me, if you could just type into the chat and say, yes, Adrian can see you and hear you clearly, that will be very much appreciated. So thank you for that. So my name is Adrian Hanks, author of Where Am I Right Now? A personal development book. And I work as a life improvement specialist, and I specialize in helping people to get more out of life, to get back on track in life and to stay on track in life, and just to help people improve physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, in their relationship, with their intimacy, with their creativity, and whatever else is going on for you. So this forum, this show for 1 hour, is all about you asking questions and getting some insights and some depth and some understanding on where you are right now in your life and where we can help you to improve that, where I can help you improve that through my coaching, counseling, through the insights and my work over 25 years in the personal and spiritual development sphere. So thank you, Beverly. That's really wonderful. Thank you for that. It's great to be seen and heard clearly on these shows. So what I'd like to put to you is a couple of ways that I love to work on here to make things really clear. So just for clarity, I'm not downloading from spirits. I'm not doing any psychic work on the show. But what I am doing is helping to empower you to ask the right question for yourself, for where you might need some change in your life, where you might need some support in your life, where you might need some insight in your life, some encouragement in your life, some direction in your life. So if you can be really clear in your question, I can be a lot more clear in my response to that. So please, if you can avoid typing in things like, is my relationship going to improve? Well, give me some idea of what needs to improve in the relationship. And questions like, will I meet my soulmate? Because I have a pretty standard response to all those generic questions. And it's better if you are clear about a precise question, and then we can go forward and then I can help you go down the rabbit hole a little bit deeper. So just a little bit about Adrian, and I've been in this space, as I say, working in the spiritual development space, the personal development space now for over 25 years. My background is I'm a psychotherapist and counsellor, and also a trained facilitator as well. And I love to support people to get more out of life. That's my absolute joy. I actually love doing that with people. And I do that one-on-one, and I do my one-on-one sessions these days mostly online. Occasionally I do meet up with people and have those sessions as well, but the work is so varied now and global that it's online. I also have workshops and live workshops where you come and actually engage with me. And also I have an online program too, a 12-week online life mastery program that you can do from the comfort of your own home or in your studio or wherever you are. And that's a downloadable videos every week and PDFs and exercises and tasks to do over a 12-week period. You can find all that on my website, adrianhanks.com. And just in the front of this, I think it's on the tab before you log into this, or when you log in, there is a link there for a upcoming workshop that I'm running on the Gold Coast in a few weeks' time. So if you want to come along to the Gold Coast for a couple of days and get something live with me, then please do go along and book in. You can also go to my website into the shop and see around that, in the events, see about that, and also on Facebook. So hi Karen, great to see you on here, and Christine as well. And if anybody else's names pops up, I'll say hello to you too. So there's a few things, one-on-one work, group work. The workshops are really interactive. Real breakthrough moments in those workshops about getting into alignment with our lives physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all other aspects, and doing some deep work over a 2-day period in Southport on the Gold Coast. So if you want to come along and do that, Otherwise, go along and have a look at my website and see what is there. There might be something there for you. So let's have a look. Hi, Michelle. Great to see you too. So anybody have any questions today on where you are right now in your life and whether you want some support to break through? And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kick off. What I love doing is getting my book and just opening a page at random and just trusting the right random page will come up. So here we go. And then just reading a little paragraph on that and then tuning in, and maybe that will enhance the trigger for you to actually look a bit deeper in your own life about what I'm going to share. So let's have a look what's on here. So I've come to the chapter on the art of communication, and one of the things I love to do is to try and get clarity in communication. I don't always get it right, particularly in relationships and those close by me, because I'm human as well and I get triggered. But just that training in conscious communication, I love working in that sphere. I like to get that clarity of the question, the clarity of the insight, the clarity of the inquiry, the clarity of the listening and speaking process. And what I've done over the years is developed some processes around conscious listening, conscious speaking, conscious engagement, and how to actually sit in a conversation with somebody else without getting triggered. It doesn't always work, of course, we're all human, but if we can alleviate some of those triggers, what a great resource to have. So I've shared some of that. So I'm just going to share a little bit from this book, and I'm just going to start from where I feel right to share, and then if any questions come up. So Kate, hi Kate, nice to see you on here. Kate, the traveling gypsy, who does her amazing work, and I spent some time with Kate a few years ago in her space when she was at, I think it was Victoria Point, and we used this book in a similar manner where the people who met and we had a high tea together, I think, which they were on the memory. I chose a paragraph in each book and then related it to everybody in the room to see what it unfolded for them for their story. And there were some real great synchronous moments in that. So I'm going to share something now from a book. When we communicate with a lessened eye presence, we're dimmed in our ability to listen and speak with clarity and full consciousness. Becoming more aware of how we communicate with people is a responsibility we can all learn to take if we wish to build a better, more loving society. Showing our responses and slowing our responses and becoming more aware of what other people are saying to us beyond their words is an art which takes time to master. Becoming more aware of another person's movements, facial gestures, tone of voice, breathing patterns, and their reactions and responses to us takes time and practice. The positive feedback from participants at workshops and training programs confirms that these communication exercises and experiences help to improve communication skills even after just one or two of the basic exercises. A large part of good communication is about learning to listen. And there's a little quote, I love this one. So the first old lady says, "Isn't it windy?" And the second old lady says, "No, it's Thursday." And the first old lady says, "So am I. Let's go and have a cup of tea." So that's listening and getting the words wrong. So communication might be a bit of a topic for today. In terms of our communication together, type in those clear questions and then I can come with some clarity on the answers. So let's have a look what Sean has to say. Hey, Adrian from New Zealand. Question: spiritual journey, learning, speaking, truths goes wrong. Okay, let's see if I can get clear on this question, Shona, because the clearer the question, the clearer is my response. So let me just see what you're saying here. Spiritual journey, learning, speaking, truth goes wrong. Not quite sure what you mean by that, Shona. Maybe clarify that for me a little bit, because I don't want to get the response wrong. I want to get it really clear for you. So my take on that is, in the spiritual journey, you're learning to speak your truth, and then something goes wrong when one speaks your truth. So the question is, how do we define going wrong? But if you can just clarify that for me, otherwise I'm just going to keep going on what I believe you've said here, because the clarity is really important. But if we speak our truth and then we get a sense that something goes wrong, the first thing I'd say is, can we clarify wrong? Wrong from what perspective? wrong from our own belief systems, wrong from our own understanding, from our own need for a particular response. So that's always a good thing to do is, when we look at that right and wrong, from what perspective? From internal subjective perspective, from an objective perspective, from a global perspective? Because the right and wrong is an interesting phenomenon to step into. There's a beautiful poet called Rumi. He's a Sufi poet, and he's got this beautiful poem, and I'll translate it simply here. And it says, there are two fields of right and wrong, but there is a third field, and I would choose to meet you there. And that's a beautiful thing to keep in mind when there's potential conflict as well. So Shona, yes, truth of what I see that they can't see, they take offense. So Shona, I'm not sure if you're talking here about being and working in the medium space and seeing things that people are not seeing from a medium perspective or psychic perspective. Yep, if you are, just say yes, so I can keep the conversation going with you. So is this you working with your psychic abilities? I love it when I get phone calls halfway through the show. I don't know how to quite turn that off. So just let me know, are you talking about you being a medium, you working in the psychic space and seeing things that people don't see? Just let me know. Yep. Yes. Okay. So Shona, the first point, and I say this to anybody working in the psychic medium, counseling, coaching space. The first rule for me, the first esoteric rule of any work with another human being is permission. And this is the huge, big lesson for so many people. And I don't know whether this is a lesson for you, but if it is, really listen in on this one. If I walk down the street, if I walk into a room, and I walk in and I choose to turn my aura reading machine on, and I look at somebody's aura for whatever reason, and I see a hole in their aura, it's not my responsibility, not my place to tell them. Absolutely not my place. Because I have not got permission from them. The only time I will work with somebody is when they come to me to ask my opinion of something. But I wouldn't, I often get people that walk up to me if I'm at psychic fairs and different things, or if I'm in that spiritual, space with people. Some people, do take that liberty. They walk up to me and say, Adrian, I just need to let you know. And I said, before you begin, I'm stopping you because you've overstepped the mark. You've overstepped the boundary of spiritual development work. So this is a really clear boundary for all of us to learn in the spiritual space, in their personal development space. Yeah, absolutely. You only speak if you have permission. You only speak if you get invited. And learn to turn the machine off. Learn to turn it off. Because if we walk around all day long with that psychic, there's a word for it. People call it empath energy or psychic ability. Turn it off. Just turn it on when you're employed to turn it on. And if you haven't learned to turn it on and off yet, I suggest that's the training. That's the training. Because I have psychic abilities. I've trained myself. I can see auras and the energy fields. But if I walk around all day looking at people's energy fields, wow, like why? What's the gain for them and what's the gain for me? So I only turn on my abilities, different abilities, at different times. So if I'm in a coaching session, I'm a coach. If I'm a counselor, I'm a counsellor. If somebody asks me to, read their aura for whatever reason, then I'll turn that aura reading ability on. If people wanted me to tune in on another level, I'll turn that on. But otherwise, off button. And it's a really good lesson to learn. And it's not an easy one because if there's a need to rescue, and often it is with people working in the spiritual development world, they want to rescue people, they want to save people, they want to help people. It's not our responsibility. It's not our responsibility unless we're invited in to do it. So I hope that helps you, Shona. And, learn that lesson, work with that lesson, work with that discipline, because it is a discipline. It's very hard sometimes, particularly around family and friends. We do see things, we do interpret things, we do have a different understanding of things. But part of it might be their karmic journey too, to actually go through that. And if we arrest that, if we stop that, then we might be stopping a part of their growth. And there's a beautiful story about that. Yeah, beautiful story. So the caterpillar climbs in and builds itself a shell and becomes a chrysalis. And in that juicy process inside that shell over days or weeks or sometimes months, yeah, it transforms into a butterfly. And the butterfly squashed in that tube, a hard tube. And if we break that tube and help that butterfly out, the butterfly will never, ever fly. Because in the process of pushing through, what it does, it pushes the fluids into the wings, into the tiny little veins of the wings, and it enables the wings to open and enables a butterfly to fly. So sometimes we don't want to snip that journey off of our friends, our family, our clients, people around us, because they may have to go through something to strengthen their wings so they can fly. It's a beautiful little story. So, hi, Kim. Yeah, big lesson, big lesson. And Shona, so many people in this space, I talk to so many people in this space, please just back off from people, let them have their journey, unless you're invited in to change it. So thank you for engaging, and I'm glad you've taken that lesson on, because it is a huge lesson. And anybody else listening in, what I love about this show, Shona, and what you've exemplified in what you've shown here, is by you asking a question and having the courage to ask the question, other people will actually get something from that too. So if anybody's listening in and they feel like there's a question, I know from years of experience in working in the space that when you ask that question, the answer will not only come from you and for you, it'll be for other people around you too. So it's great to ask these questions, because it's multifaceted for so many other people. And not just you, Shona, but other people today would have, if they choose to, can take that lesson on as well. Some people obviously, may not be ready for the lesson, but those that are can take that lesson on and work with it as deeply as they can. And challenge yourself, challenge yourself not to step in and do that in somebody else's energy field. It's a violation. Be really clear about it. When we step into somebody's energy field without permission, it's a violation. Yeah. And what happens is, because they see us as the authority in that space, a lot of people recede into their being and let us take over and do that reading. But what often they're wanting to say is no, stop, but they haven't got the energy or the courage or the authority to do that. So we actually lessen them and take away their power. So yeah, there's so many levels, Shona, in this teaching, and I'm sure as you delve into that, you'll go down the rabbit hole and down the rabbit hole and down the rabbit hole. And if you take this on board, it will make you such a different healer, such a different psychic, such a different therapist, or whatever space you're working in. I truly know that. So thank you. So any other questions for anybody else? I'm just going to grab my drink in my little mug. Nice to have a drink. So I'm on the Gold Coast. I live down here. I've been here for about 12 months. I was in Sydney for a few years before that, and get in and around the community to do a few different things, do workshops, talks, presentations. And I love presenting at people's functions, workplaces. If any of you have got teams of people you'd like me to come in and demonstrate something, talk about something, a particular topic, then they're always open to those invitations too. So if you've got something happening and you'd like me to come along, contact me and let's have a conversation. So Mary Dorsey, anything for me, please? Heart. Mary, let's get really clear on the process here for you. What area of your life would you like to know something about? What maybe is not in alignment for you right now? Where do you want to improve something right now? Where do you want to take something to the next level in your life right now? Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, in relationship, in creativity, in vocation. Yeah. Oh yeah. So Shona, the best place to go, you can go to Adrian Hanks on Facebook and you'll see a picture of this beautiful bald head. Or you can go to my website, www adrianhanks.com. Yeah, adrianhanks.com, and there's lots of information on my website there. You can check that out. So also on Facebook, but adrianhanks.com is the place to go and have a look. And there's lots of videos on the media page. There's a shop in there. There's quite a few freebies in there with a few different things you can send away for free. And there's obviously some products in there as too. And if you, I don't know where you're based, Shona, but I am running a workshop on the Gold Coast in a few weeks. So if you'd like to come and do something live with me and anybody else listening in, it's always an honor to do live work with people, because then we get a really good sense of connecting. So so fantastic. So Kim, I have a daughter who I think some infant. Are you saying that I should not interfere? So Kim, let me just get clear on here. I have a daughter who I think that needs some intervention. Are you saying I should not interfere? It depends what it is, Kim. Like, you know, that's quite a generic response here. It depends what's going on for her. It really does. Like, if you know something is going on, what I often find if we're working with our own family is to step outside it and let somebody else work with the family who's a little bit more objective and less connected subjectively, because sometimes even the best therapists can be mired when working with family, because the connection, the heart connection comes in, and sometimes we don't see quite as clearly, because obviously there's a, you know, concern and worry can come into the situation, and that can sometimes mar the view. So, you know, I'm not saying that happens for you, but just be cautious around that. Sometimes it's good to step out and get somebody else in external to come and work, so they see things a little bit more objectively and not so subjectively. But if you're seeing something in your daughter, if you're feeling something in your daughter, I'm not quite sure that it sounds like some intervention needs to happen. If you want to get clear on that now, we can talk about it. If you want to do it privately, just give me a private call. But yeah, it depends what that is. That's a little bit generic, just with that information. That's what I say. When you communicate, when you type, be as clear as you can. It's a really good personal development process to check one's clarity. Checking what one's saying, what one is writing, what one is asking. So before you know, when you type, have a read and think, oh, if Adrian reads that, is that fully understandable? Is it 100%? It's a really good personal development process to continue with, is clarity. Because what clarity does, it stops doubt. Yeah, it's the antidote for doubt, is clarity. And it's a really good, there's three things I often work with, and it's fear, doubt, and hatred, or lack of self-love. And the antidotes to those, yeah, are clarity, yeah, and then when we're in that place of fear, we have to get courage, and when we're in that place of self-hatred or hatred for the world or dislike, we have to find love and harmony. So three key things I work nearly all the time with in my work, and the clarity one is huge. Okay, I would love to know about my love life, please. Okay, Amy, ask me a specific question, and we'll go down the rabbit hole with you, and we'll ask, so what do you want to know about your love life? What's the question? Get clear on the question, because that's quite generic again, it's quite broad, and I'm not doing psychic readings today. Yeah. So Mary Dorsey, I'm just going to go back. Anything for me, please? Okay. Yep, Mary, relationship. So I do have something for you. Are you wanting a relationship? Are you wanting a new relationship? Or are you wanting to improve the relationship we're in? Just let me know, because I'm just going to go down the rabbit hole with you, because that's, once again, it's generic. So, the lesson here today is about clarity. If it's one word, it's really broad and generic. It can mean anything. Relationship with a new partner, with your daughter, with your mother, with your next door neighbor. Yeah. So getting specific is a really good thing to do. Yeah. Getting that clarity. Yeah, same with you, Florence. Business life, it's very generic. What do you like to know about your business? Where is it not flowing for you? Where do you need some support? Where do you need some guidance? Where do you need some answers? Yeah. Because I'm not downloading that psychic space today. I want you to get the clarity around it from the coaching and the intellect, as well as the heart space and the soul space as well. She is on dangerous drugs. So, okay, so Kim, if she's on drugs, you really need to get to somebody who can work with her in that sphere. Yep. If she's on dangerous drugs, I'm serious about this, you may have to call the cops and get the police involved. Yep, absolutely. I'm really anti the drugs, recreational and given medications as well. I'm not over keen on those. But when your child is working in that drug place, you have to go to the very top, because there's no second chances. Yep, there really is not. Yeah. I watched a movie yesterday with I think it was Julie Waters. Then it was a story about her son being on drugs, and very, very moving movie. And when you're in that space and you're dealing with drugs, you just got to cut to the chase. Yep. Kim, it's not a choice of whether she sees somebody. If she's on drugs, you get the police involved, and then they intervene, and then the authorities get involved. Yeah, you just get it sorted straight to the authorities. That's their job. It's what they do well. Yep. Because if she's on drugs, she's getting them somewhere, and you're better off getting her busted and sorted, and getting some clinical work. It might be outside the sphere of where you think she may need to go in terms of working holistically, but even that realm is better than nothing. Yep. So take action, Kim. That's all I would say here. Take action. Yeah. She's not seeing somebody, go to the authority that will take action. Yeah. I'm really clear on that, because the drug world is, if they're heavy drugs, the best thing you can do for her is to help her. Yeah. Yeah. And I know, that does she need to go through it economically? I cut the line here. I cut the line here. Yep. Go and get her some support. And then if you offer the support and she gets it and she continues, then you have a choice of whether you stay in that realm and keep supporting her, or whether you let her go. But I'd say for now, do what you can to support her, because she's your daughter. It's what love does. Do you feel I should head in a new direction in my career? Michelle, your choice. My answer always to vocational questions, because I'm not going to make that choice for you, because that's a cop-out. That's an absolute cop-out. I want you to decide. I want you to take authority. I want you to be the one that really decides what you want to do with your life, because that's empowering. I want to empower you to make the choice. So if you had the choice right now, Michelle, to take a new direction in your career, what would you choose to do? That's the question. What would you love to do? What's your passion? What's your mission? What's your vision? Yeah. Hi, Adelina. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're well too. So, Michelle, that would be the question. And if you want to go down this rabbit hole with me, we can do that. Yeah. Mary, I wanted insight on my love relationship being best for my higher good. Yeah, so Mary, let's go down the rabbit hole with you. Yeah. What do you mean by that? I wanted insight on my love relationship being best for my highest good. So my question is, and you can answer this for me, Mary, are you in a relationship now and do you want to improve it, or are you looking for a new relationship? So let's start with that clarity. Yeah. Let's start with that clarity, then we can find a way through this. Yeah. Because I won't give that straight answer of, you're going to meet your soulmate tomorrow. That's not how I work. Yeah. I want to empower you to find the journey for yourself. Amy, am I with the right man? Some days yes, some days no. Depends on your communication, depends on the connection, depends on what you want, depends on what he wants. That's a question. Is he, what I often say, Amy, is a good measure for a relationship, and this is my take. When I do my couples counselling, I do a lot of coaching and couples counselling. When I work with that couple, I say one thing: is the relationship worth the hard work? Because all conscious relationships are hard work. I don't care what anybody says, they're hard work. If you want a conscious communication, you want conscious truth speaking, if you want conscious love making, if you want conscious social time, if you want conscious being together, it's not always easy. Because speaking one's truth is not easy. Listening with consciousness is not easy. Not being triggered is not easy. Not projecting, reacting, it's not easy. But if the relationship is worth it, and you feel that relationship is like a 80-20 principle, where 80% of the time or 70% of the time it's really good, and the other time it's work in process, then you're probably with the right man. But if life isn't good and you're sort of in that 30-40% space where sadly a lot of couples are, where there's conflict and there's no communication, there's lack of love making or intimacy, and it's just going through the ropes, sitting and watching The Simpsons and drinking beer, then maybe it's not the right man for you. But you have to make that choice. But I will start with a measure. Is the relationship worth the hard work? Is question number one. And secondly, from a percentage perspective, are you in the 80-20 principle? 70-30, 60-40, 50-50? And if you're in the 50-50 or whatever you're in, what's it going to take to go up to the next level? What do you need to do, Amy, to change yourself? What skills do you need to bring in the relationship? And what skills does your partner need to bring in the relationship to take it to a more conscious level? And I'd suggest, if you want to, you're going to give me a call and let's have a few coaching sessions together. And let's see if we can support you to take that relationship to the next level, if that's what you choose. Yeah, because the age of relationship, conscious relationship, is changing. It's absolutely changing. The difference in energy now of what relationships are about are different than they were even 5 or 10 years ago. Finding new ways of being in a relationship, finding new ways to communicate in a relationship. Intimate sexuality is changing. People are wanting more. They wanted more sacredness in the relationship. 20 years ago, sex was just like sex for most people, but now people are wanting a bit more. They're wanting the intimacy with it. They're wanting the spirituality with it. They're wanting the meditation with it. They're wanting the kundalini energy to flow through it. So there's lots of new things coming in, and if one partner wants that and the other isn't ready for it or doesn't know how to do it, there can be conflict. Same in the communication. If one is communicating better than the other, there's conflict. Okay? So that would be where I'd go in that question for you, Amy, because I won't give you a direct answer, yes or no, because that's not how I work, okay? Hope it helps. And if you want to get down the rabbit hole, just ask a deeper question as well. I am unaware about starting a business as a hypnotherapist. So I'm always finding the best thing to do next, and I never complete what I'm doing. Okay, Florence, what a great question statement. So, my question to you is, Florence, do you want to be a hypnotherapist? Do you truly, in your heart of hearts, want to be a psychotherapist? A hypnotherapist, sorry. Maybe that was a Freudian slip. Maybe you want to be a psychotherapist. So ask your heart. Just close your eyes for a moment. Wave the magic wand. Tune in. See yourself in the future, 2 or 3 years in the future. Are you doing hypnotherapy? Are you a hypnotherapist? Is it what you truly want to be, to truly do? And if it is, then just get on with it. And if it's not, then stop it. Make a choice. Create a vision for yourself. I always work, I say this every week. I start with a vision, get clear on the vision, write it, paint it, do your vision board, paint it, draw it, sculpture it, walk it, talk it, step into it, and then do the planning around it when you're clear about the vision, and then you can take action. So Florence, back to the vision. What do you want to be doing in 12 months' time? Do you want to be doing hypnotherapy? If it is, then you've got to start planning that and then taking action. And sometimes it's hard because if you're doing one thing, there often is other opportunities. But I'd say, what's your calling would be the question. Is your calling to be a hypnotherapist? And if it is, jump in. If it's not, jump out. Just get clear on that. Yes or no? I want to be a hypnotherapist. Yes or no? Start with that. And then from there, you can start doing the planning around building a business around hypnotherapy or the other thing you want to be doing. So that's where I'd go with you on that. So, Adeline, will I start my new business? It depends, Adeline. Have you got your vision? Have you got your business vision? Do you know what you're going to be doing? Are you really clear about it? Who, what, where, why, when and how? Where's it going to be? How's it going to be? Who's employed? What are you going to do? What are you delivering? Etc., etc. And then have you done your business plan? Clear business plan. How you're going to engage with people? How you're going to work with people? What your pricing structure is? Give you a little bit of a story here, Adelina, sorry. I was working with somebody several years ago who wanted to open her own practice being a kinesiologist, and she started and she wasn't getting any clients, so we did some coaching together and we did some energy work together. And I said to her, you're a kinesiologist. and you've set your price, you've done all your business structure. I said, how much of that did you do through kinesiology? He said, I didn't. I said, but you're a kinesiologist and you're not using your tools? Like, what's going on? So I said, let's do one thing. Let's look at your cost structure. And I think she was something like, $95 or whatever it was, because everybody else was charging $95. But we muscle tested what vibration it was for her to start charging as a new kinesiologist. And what came up, I think, was about $65 an hour, something like that. And she went, oh, it's not quite, what I thought was. So, well, if you get 3 clients in at 65, is that better than none at 95? So what we did, we started at 65, she put it out there, and within 2 weeks, she had a busy practice. Then 3 months later, she put her prices up. But it wasn't in vibration with her truth about what she should be really charging, because vibrationally, she was thinking, in her subconscious mind, I'm probably worth 65. But she tried to stretch herself and push her out to 95. And people weren't relating to that because they were feeling that she was not in alignment with herself. So there's a lot of that work to be done as well in new business as well. It's not just all about setting it up, it's about what's the vibration behind it. I say to people, I was talking yesterday, I'm part of a business network. I run the business network in Coolangatta called BX Networking. And we meet every fortnight there, and then all over Brisbane and Queensland and in Sydney and Melbourne and all over the place now. It's a growing network for people with business. And I was having the discussion with 3 or 4 people yesterday about the business card. If you're not in vibration with that business card when you hand it over, people will just bung it. They won't even look at it. But if they feel a connection to it and feel you in the card, it's got to be the right font, the right color, the right size font, mostly with a photograph of yourself if you can, etc., etc. People connect, because 95% of business cards are absolute waste of time. Waste of time, because people don't feel the connection with it. So even that in business. So will I start my new business, Adelina? When you're ready to do your vision, your plan, and the action, yes, you will be. But get clear on it, get clear on it. And if you want me to help you with some coaching on that, it's what I do really, really well. I love working in that space with people to get their startup happening. Yeah, I'm working with a lady at the moment. She is a healing artist. Yeah, she does art with healing. And I'm doing a startup for her at the moment, and we've got a wonderful outside the box process to get her going in that space, and I'm really looking forward to working with her in that space. And so I like to think outside the box and working with people. I've done that, and they just done nothing. All right, then Kim, you're not talking to the right people. You can choose to stop there and say, they've done nothing, or you can go to the next level. Where do you need to go to next? There's always somewhere else to go. There's always another place to go. Or you go back to them and you demand it. And you put it in writing. Or whatever it is you need to do. Yeah. There's always another option. But you might have to look outside the box a little bit. Yeah. You might have to get the services involved. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how old she is either. Whether docs get involved if she's young, or whether it's a police, or whether, what it is. But there's always somewhere to go. You just need to take that next step of where to go. If you're walking into a police station, for instance, you're just talking to a constable, you go to the sergeant. And if you don't get any joy from the sergeant, you go to the next level up. And if you don't get the right response from the police station, you take it to the next level. You go to the HQ of New South Wales or Queensland or wherever you're working. And you keep going. And if that doesn't work, then you go to the ombudsman. And if that doesn't work, you go to the MP. You just keep going and going if you choose to. There's always somewhere else to go. Always. Yep, Adelina. So get into that space and get your business going. Karen, hello. I told a friend something I was thinking of doing, and she told me it was not a good idea and that I hadn't put much thought into it. I told her I'm capable of weighing up the pros and just read this. I told her I am capable of weighing up the pros and cons for myself. She then said she didn't mean to offend me. However, now I feel like crap for standing up for myself because she has a lot of health problems. What do I need to do to feel better? Karen, sometimes you just got to let her go and realise, she was probably saying it out of love because she cares for you. Yeah. She might be frustrated because she's not doing her own thing as well. So she might have been projecting on you. She might have been dumping her nonsense and rubbish onto you. So just take a big breath This is a great one. I love doing this one. Take a big breath. Feel her inside you. Feel her inside you. Feel the words. Feel the hurt. Feel the blame. Feel the shame. Whatever's going on. Feel the emotion. And then just do this. Just let it go. And do it 3 or 4 times. And just shake her out your system. Get her out of your energy field. It's a really good physical thing to do. If you feel somebody's in there, I got triggered this morning. Somebody said something about me. It was really personal. It really got in. It really made me livid. Really did. I was really angry. How dare they? It's none of their business. And I had a good shake off. I wrote what I needed to say. Put a boundary up. Cut off all ties. Done, finished. Move on. Not saying you need that with this person, but sometimes that boundary's got to be really sharp and clear. Bang, done, finished. No more communication, because I don't want it to drain my energy. I don't want to get into a communication around something that's not somebody else's business. So it'd be the same for you. Could be none of your business. Thank you, but I didn't ask for your advice. It's a bit like I was saying before. You know, as healers, if we're in this space, it's a violation when we step in and say something or do something or offer something without the request. So basically she violated you by saying something that was none of her business. You know, how dare she say whether you're ready for something or not? You know, she doesn't know the full story. So yeah, let her out of your system. Big breath. Let it go. Mary is not awakened. Yep. Okay. So how does one work with a partner to, you know, from your perspective, he's not awakened? He may have a different story. But what does that mean, awakened? You know, can you clarify that with your partner and say, can we work together to be on a similar pathway together? If he's really not interested and you're interested in that spiritual world and he's not, there could be a conflict in there. Some couples manage it and some don't. Depends on the communication. Depends on your relationship vision, what you want for each other. If it's working for you, great. If it's not, then you may have to make some, you know, serious choices around the relationship. But you don't know until you sit and have a conversation. He might be scared to step into that awakened. You know, I don't know the story, but let's take a scenario. He might be working on the building site where they're all blokies, you know, and they've all got the bums hanging out the shorts and they're in their bondies. And talking about spirituality and awakened is a bit of a taboo, you know. Even if the men go home and, you know, on the building site, it's a bit of a taboo topic. So if he's in that space, it might be that he wants it, but he can't because he's feeling pressured that he can't. So have the conversation. What does awakened mean to you? What does it mean to him? Where do you want to go together? Where do you want to step forward together? Because he might be on board, but unless you have a conversation about it, you don't know. Okay? So hope that helps a little bit. Erica, hello. Adelina, well said, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, I hope some of this is helping. I hope some of this is giving you a bit of guidance, a bit of insight, a bit of juice to get through life. That's what this is all about. It's about supporting you to come on board with yourself and to make some positive changes, to improve your life. It's not always easy, believe you me. Now, I work with it, you know, every single day with myself, with my clients, with my students, and it's not easy work. It's not easy work. Breaking through all those different challenges to become enlightened, if you like, is not easy. And how do we define enlightenment as well? You know, because oftentimes, you know, basking in the enlightenment isn't the job. It's about stepping into the shadow and working in the shadow. Pleasure, Karen. And Donna, so I'm thinking it best to work backwards from the result. Yeah. So Donna, yeah, you're quite right. Hi, Donna Marie. What I say is create the vision, create the outcome. What do you want to achieve? Yep. So exactly right. Because the old way of thinking in education is having many parts and then building up the whole. Yeah. And it's a backwards way of thinking. It's an old paradigm, and we have to step at that. What we do is start with a whole. We start with a whole. And then from that, and that's the vision. The whole is the vision. So you write it, you draw it, you paint it, you create it, you walk it, you talk it, you sing it. You just create the energy of that vision, yeah, or of the result you want, or the objective you want. And then you can break it down into the plan of how to get there, how to achieve it. Yeah. So for instance, You may have a vision of yourself doing something, like being in a different vocation. Yeah. So then you break it down. Perhaps you want to be a public speaker. Let's take that as a scenario. So you have a vision of being a public speaker. So what you do, you practice it. You step into that energy. You name the person, the being of yourself that can be the public speaker. You might say, Adrian, the performer, or whatever you want to call yourself. Or for myself, it would be Adrian, the performer. And then I feel it, and I paint it, and I draw it, and I feel it, and I get into it, and I feel the challenge of doing it, and I look at the fears and the doubts. And then I create the vision of myself standing in front of 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, whatever it is. And then I have to, of course, plan it. How do I get to that space? Who do I need to talk to? Do I need to do a show reel? Do I need to go and do some practice runs with some friends? What's the plan around it? And then, of course, then you can take action to actually become that speaker. So we start with a big vision. Yes, Donna. Start with the vision of what you want, and this is why, and I speak about vision boards, and I'm a bit disparaging on some ways the vision board is made and used, because it's a bit too simplified. Because what happens is, people build and they make their vision boards and then do nothing with them. And then they expect all those pictures of the images they have or the words to come to fruition. And of course, for many, they get disillusioned and disappointed because it doesn't happen. And oftentimes it's because of the way they're working with the vision board. So I've created a particular way of working with a vision board that actually helps to break down those barriers and the subconscious mind that actually will sabotage us receiving those things. So Donna, a lot of it is, when we work with, we create the vision or the picture or the result we want, but then we have to look at what are the possible sabotage patterns? What are the old stories we tell ourselves about not being able to receive it? I'm not deserving enough, whatever the story is. So there's many factors once we create the vision. And once we have the plan, executing the plan can be really challenging, because the old subconscious mind tells us we're not deserving or we can't receive that for whatever reason. And this is why, for me, having a coach in one's life to help one in business, relationship, is, I believe, essential. I really absolutely believe it's essential to have somebody to support, to encourage, to push sometimes, to be there, to listen, to care, to help us to break through, to become that next level, to improve our life. And if I can help anybody by being that coach, love to be it. Contact me, adrianhanks.com, or go on my Facebook page and send me a message, and we can have a conversation. You can book in for a session with me, and we can have that conversation and see if you want to get to that next level in your life. Because I always use things like, Tiger Woods, the golfer, and great athletes, and Ash Barty, the tennis player. She didn't get there without a coach. No way in the world. She has several coaches. She has a mind coach. She has a fitness coach. She has a tennis coach. There's a whole range of coaches she works with to become the best. So if we want to improve ourselves, the only real way to do that, from my perception, if you want to really get it, is to lock in a coach and spend some good time, energy, and money with a coach to break through and get there. It's a really big one. And so many people get stuck on not having a coach. Can't afford it, haven't got the time, haven't got the energy, can't find one, whatever the excuse is. But if you want to break through, I know my big breakthroughs nearly always have come from having a coach, 90% of the time. Sometimes I manage to do it by myself. Usually takes longer and more painful. But sometimes I manage, but mostly it's because I work with somebody to break through. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever's going on for me. So, okay. Love the advice you are giving. I am wanting to raise my vibration to manifest a house for myself. Do you feel Abraham Hicks is a good listen in order to achieve? Yes, I love Abraham. I love Esther and Jerry. I was actually fortunate 11 years ago now, 10, 11 years ago, I was with them on the Gold Coast for a weekend at the Pines Resort. It was an amazing space. There were 300 or 400 people in the room, and Esther and Jerry were there, and Abraham, the energy came through, and it was really quite amazing. In fact, I'd say for me, Esther, Jerry's obviously still around in the spiritual because he's not here on the physical anymore, is the absolute sort of pinnacle of that work. And because I've had that experience with Esther and Jerry, that's sort of my litmus mark now. And if people aren't working at that level, I don't really engage, because I'm so used to working now on that level with Abraham and working in that space. So yeah, absolutely, Mandy. But what you can do on that space, just to take it down the rabbit hole a little bit further, is you can listen to them, yeah, and you can tune into their vibration. But Mandy, you have to do the work. You have to do the practice. You have to learn to know your subconscious mind. You need to know your saboteurs. Yeah, you need to know your old stories, your old paradigms. You've got to know all those old aspects of your being, yeah, that will sabotage it. And it's a bit like this. You know the Russian doll, it's called a babushka. And on the outside you see the doll, you know, usually a smiley face, a Russian. But then what happens is you take that off and inside it there's another one. And inside it there's another one. You go right down. The little one represents, you know, the, if you like, the newborn or the child, the baby. And then the next one could be like the 5-year-old, then the 10-year-old, then 20-year-old. Each one of those aspects is inside us. And what happens is if we get triggered, yeah, if we get triggered by something, a memory, a smell, a taste, or something somebody said or did, what happens is that old self will jump in and take control. And this happens all the time in personal development work and spiritual development work. And it arrests the growth. Yeah, so if you want to raise your vibration, I'd say 2 things. Yeah, one is get a teacher. You know, whether that's a physical teacher or not, that's your choice. But I'd say, you know, to start with, get a physical, spiritual teacher. And then secondly, I'd look at your beingness, your body as a vessel, and just be really clear what goes into it. Are you on really good organic food? Are you on really good water? Are you putting rubbish into your temple? Drugs, alcohol, all those things. Challenge yourself on it. If you want to do it, but I'm just saying, if you want to raise your vibration, they're the basic 101s. Change your diet. Don't put rubbish into your vessel. Do some study. Find a spiritual path that resonates and stick with it for a minimum of 5 years. One path. Don't mix it up and don't become a weekend workshop junkie, because you really don't learn anything more than just, you know, base learning. Yeah. And set yourself on a course. Have the vision of the vibration you want to be in, the woman you want to be. I call it the future potential self. What does he or she look like physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? How do they walk? How do you walk? How do you dress? How do you smell? How do you taste? You know, get a vision of that. So we're back to the vision. And then what you need to do to plan to get there. What you need to do to change your life. What you need to bring in. Daily meditation, daily exercise, good food, good water, good communication, less stress, spiritual path, a daily routine. All those things, Mandy. Because then your vibration will raise. But it's up to you. You have to be responsible, because nobody else can raise it for you. You can read and listen to Abraham all you like. And of course, just listening, it will have some effect. But if you do the action, yeah, if you take action and do the work every day, your vibration will rise. Yeah, it really will. So I hope that helps you. So what else have we got in here? Does anybody else want to elaborate a bit more on some of the questions? I know there are a few earlier that were quite generic, and you didn't choose to go down the rabbit hole with me. So if you do, you've got about 10 minutes left to go down the rabbit hole with me if you want to further that question. So it's a little bit more understandable and a little bit more clear for me, rather than being a generic. I'm very happy to do that. So I hope this has been insightful. Let me just grab my drink. Gets a bit thirsty chatting away. Nice to be in the quiet sometimes. Just in the breathing. You know, a lot of the work I do in a lot of the workshops, particularly when I do the men's work, one of the key things I teach people is stillness. Actually being still, physically. And many people struggle to be physically still, and then mentally still, yeah, then emotionally still, and then spiritually still. Yeah. Mandy, absolutely. Absolutely. It's what I do. I've been working with some of the, I call them students, you know, with all due respect, for many, many years. Some of them, 5, 6, 7, 1 or 2, for 7 or 8 years now, different levels. Some of them I don't see as often. At the beginning, we usually see each other a little bit. And then after a while, I might only see them every, once or twice a year, and they come to me with a question or something, and then we set a task, and they go off and do their spiritual quest. So, no, I'm not at Cooley today, Karen. It's every second Thursday I'm at Coolangatta. So I'll be there at Coolangatta next Thursday, because I run my BX Business Network there in the morning on a Thursday. And then Thursday night, I run the New Economic Evolution of the World talks at the Surf Club in Coolangatta. So Thursday every second week, I'm in Cooley all day long from 6 a.m. until about 9 p.m. But not today. I'm actually in my studio. Just show you my studio. Let me have a spin around. See the didgeridoos in there. There we go. Another didgeridoo and my backdrop. So yeah, I'm in my studio today in Coomera on the Gold Coast. But Coolangatta, as you know, Karen, because you visited me there, we had a live studio, didn't we, Karen, down there in Cooley? So I will be there next week if you're down there. So yeah, Mandy, go to my website, adrianhanks.com, or go onto Facebook, Adrian Hanks, and send me a PM, and we can have a conversation, Mandy. We can have a chat about what it is you're needing and how I might be able to support you in that space. So, but it's what I love doing. I love being in that space. And just for some background on that, you can see it on my website, but I've been following my spiritual path for 27 years, and I'm on one path. It's a Rosicrucian path. It's the path of anthroposophy, based on Rudolf Steiner's work. And I've been following that for 27 years. So I've got a lot of insights into all things spiritual and personal development. And for me, there's not much difference. Susan, what's BX? It's a business networking, and it's all over the Gold Coast. Brisbane is starting up now. Down in Sydney, Melbourne. It's the fastest growing business network in Australia. It's called BX, and I actually run the BX Networking for Business in Coolangatta every second Thursday. So anybody who's in business and they want to get their business going through a referral base by helping people refer. We had a meeting in Coomera yesterday. I actually led the meeting. That was a team leader there yesterday. There were, I think, about 25 people in the room, and we had about 120 referrals in from that space, and I ended up with 9 referrals myself. And I'm following up with those referrals today to build my business. So it's a great referral business network for people in small, medium, and large business. So if you're interested in that, send me a message, and I can certainly send you a link for that. So all good. Yeah, Mandy. Yeah, connect with me, adrianhanks.com, or find me on Facebook, and we can certainly have a chat. And I'm free after this for a little while as well if you want to connect straight away. So actually, if you've got a pen there handy, Mandy, and anybody else, I'll give my phone number right now. So it's 0400, so 0400 424 417. So 0400 424 417, and if you want to call me in 10 minutes or so, we can have a quick conversation. So let me just see here. It's about 3 or 4 minutes to the end of the show, but I've just got something here from Jackie. I'm not sure what you're answering, has only just popped on. What do you feel about past life regression? Okay, really great question. Thank you, Jackie. So what do I think about past life regression? I think past life regression, or past life observation or understanding, is really important if there's a reason for it. So if you want to know for a reason, then do the study. But what I will say to you is, do as much as you can by yourself rather than getting somebody else to read it for you. And then if you want clarity on that, from your dreams, from your memories, from your temperament, you might get a sense of, I'm really interested in Asian art, for instance. That's probably a good indication that, at some point there was a connection to Asia. If you're into, Viking energy and you love all things Viking, it might be that there's a connection to that or Viking past, etc., etc. And oftentimes you can tell by the way you live your life now and what the connection was previously. And if you can get clear on that first, or have some idea of that yourself, and then go and have a reading, if it correlates, then you know it's true. Because there's some good past life readers out there, and there's some not so good ones. And what often happens is people's ego get involved. Their own story comes up, and they'll put you in a place where they might say, You know, I can see that in 1721 you were blah, 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 blah. And some of it's a load of old crock. Some of it's a load of old crock. Sometimes it's spot on, depending who you go to. Yep, depending who you do. There's some great readers out there, and there's some not so great, past life people out there. Because people love to jump on the bandwagon a lot of the time without the training. So what I would say is, if you're going to go and do some, is check out the qualification of the person giving it to you. Who trained them? How long have they been doing it? Yep. And can they give you actual proof of you being that person? Can they actually give that to you in some form? Because if they're saying, you were in a village in France in 2021 and the name of the village was this, well, there's going to be a connection to that register somewhere of a name. I mean, I'd even go that far. Like, get clear. Otherwise, it just becomes a bit of a game. It becomes a bit of a airy-fairy thing. So if it's useful for you and you want to know for yourself for particular reasons, could be just interest. Like I'm quite clear on about 4 past lives. Yeah, some quite ancient and they're a bit fuzzy. But there's a couple that I'm really clear on. And one of them, I write about it in my book, Where Am I Right Now book, whether that's gone. And I talk about it, and it was I'm just going to finish with this. It was a past life in Scotland, and I dreamt it, I felt it, and so I flew there. I flew to this little island in Scotland called the Isle of Eigg, and I walked the past, and I went to the caves, and I went to the old site where the church was, and I went to the place where I got a sense of something happened to me, and I could remember it. Like, it was quite clear. I knew which path to take. I knew where to go, and the vision I had was the same vision of the village I was in. So for me, I checked it out. I actually went to that place. That's always a good thing to do too. Like, go back to that country, go back to that town, and check it out for yourself. And it feels real. It does. And when you know, like, nobody can tell you it's not true. Yep. But there's a little quick story. Rudolf Steiner, my teacher, and I don't know how true this story is, but apparently, as the story goes, he got a knock on his door about 7 o'clock at night, and this lady rushed up and said, "Hey, Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, I need to tell you something." He said, "I've just had a past life experience, and I was Mary Magdalene." He said, "Yes, my dear." He said, "You're the 7th one today. So be a bit careful." Be a bit careful, because sometimes people pump it up a little bit. They make themselves or make you bigger than actually you can be, because that's like an ego thing. You've paid them money and they need to tell you something. So check it out. Yeah, I do believe in it. I do follow it, and I have my own experience. But really check out the qualification of the person you're working with, or do your own research first. Feel into it. Feel it. There's a few exercises. There's an exercise called a mirror exercise you can do. We can look at yourself in several mirrors, and it'll actually trigger the memory to take you back into past memory stuff. But that's quite advanced work. And if you can find somebody to do the mirror work, you can. So there's a fair different ways of finding out what they are, but do the research for yourself. Hope that helps. I'm nearly coming to an end. Thank you, Adrian. You are inspiring. Thank you. I love connecting up with you. Much to you again. What do I feel? What I do feel them. Just everything still. Not quite sure what that means. Cody? Where do I do feel them? Just everything still. Not quite sure what that means. Because I'd say it's all about getting that clear. So look, I'm 3 past 1, so I'm 3 minutes over my time. I've taken some liberty because I wanted to finish that little story. But please do tune in again next Thursday. It's always midday on a Thursday, Queensland time. But please, the best thing you can do is contact me. Go to my website, adrianhanks.com. Contact me. Let's have a further conversation. And if I can be of any support to you in any way, please just ask and we'll see what we can do. So namaste to you, blessings, and you have a beautiful day. See you.